Okay, so this is the next episode of the podcast. By the way, after today's podcast, we're going to be doing these every other day. So it's going to be a good time, especially once we get closer to Halloween and all of that. But we have a ton of stuff to talk about today. Like I've said before, we do have a giveaway that we're going to be doing. Tomorrow we'll release the video on that. So if you're watching this and you want to join that giveaway, the giveaway will end October 31st. October 30th. And then the 31st, we will pick the winner. And it'll be a very good prize indeed. Just wait for the video to know what it is. And let's get right into all of these things we're going to talk about today in the horror aspect of things. So like I've said before, this is going to be a mainly horror-esque podcast where we just discuss all things horror. And we have a lot of things to discuss right now because horror, like I've said before, has just been on a roll. Like 2022 for horror has been great, and I do want to talk about that this week, especially with Halloween coming out this week. And we will talk about it on the podcast episode on Tuesday, so stay tuned for that. And we have a ton of videos as well related to horror that we have reviews, and he explains all of that. The new Hellraiser just came out, and I do want to talk further more about that, especially on Monday, so stay tuned for that. But today, let's talk about some of the news we just got this week, which is amazing. So we do hear that M. Night Shyamalan will have a new movie coming out on April 5th, 2024. As we know, Shyamalan has recently come out with Knock at the Cabin, a very, very interesting movie in my opinion. And here's what it says about Knock at the Cabin. While vacationing at a remote cabin, a young girl and her parents are taken hostage by four armed strangers who demand that the family make an unthinkable choice to avert the apocalypse. With limited access to the outside world, the family must decide what they believe all is lost. Dave Bautista, Rupert Grint, Nikki Amuka Bird, as well as Ben Aldrich and Jonathan Grove will be starring in this. That comes out February 3rd, 2023. So this one's very, very interesting, very excited for it. And to hear that M. Night Shyamalan already has another movie in the works, it's an exciting time for sure. So the new Hellraiser came out this week, and this is definitely a movie I do recommend checking out. I had the chance to check it out a couple days early. It was also a fantastic fest. It played at a secret screening, which I was sadly not present for because this would have been one of those movies you definitely want to see on the big screen. I really did enjoy it for the most part. I thought that it was a really good adaptation, and I am excited to see what comes in the future from this. I thought it was very good in my opinion. Like I said, I enjoyed the first Hellraiser and the second one, and then with the rest, I don't know. I'm not gonna talk about that right now. So I'm gonna say that I did enjoy this sort of like soft reboot, if you want to call it, because I think they did a good job at really giving these characters some new breath and really giving them a new sort of like inspiration of sorts, where it doesn't necessarily feel like, why would you just make another movie the same way beat for beat when we already have a classic? This one felt like it was different and it had something else to tell, so I was excited for that. So hopefully we'll get some more of these movies that are done in this manner where they really give us something special, and we'll see what happens next, right? But overall, definitely check out Hellraiser if you have the chance. I thought it was really good, and I do have a review on it, and we'll talk more about the future of it tomorrow as well on the channel, so stay tuned for that. I think we'll have like a morning show or something, and something I want to do, and that way it really gets me up to get and do stuff, because sometimes like I'll be like getting up too late or I'll be late and all of that. But I think if I have something where I'm just like, you gotta wake up to do this show, I think it could get me up, and we will come up with a cool name or something for it, right? So we'll definitely talk more about that pretty soon. So let's go on ahead and go on with the next piece of news. So this was a project we were talking about earlier this year in the channel, especially after the Northman and everything came out with Robert Eggers, and this was the Nosferatu movie, which apparently at first had Willem Dafoe, Anya Taylor-Joy, and also Harry Styles attached to it, and I was excited. I was ready for this. I was like, this is perfection at its best. And then we heard that this wasn't going to happen the way we thought. So earlier this week, we actually heard that Bill Skarsgård as well as Lily Rose Depp were actually going to be on board for this movie, and that we were actually also going to get now Nicholas Hoult for this movie, which is interesting in my opinion because this was a move I did not see coming at all. I was very much so in the idea that we were going to get a Willem Dafoe Nosferatu, and that would have been perfect in my opinion. I think Willem Dafoe would have played a great Count But it turns out that now we're going to be getting this new one that will have Bill Skarsgård as well as Lily Rose Depp and Nicholas Hoult, still coming to us from Robert Eggers, who of course has done movies such as The Witch, The Lighthouse, and The Northman. The Northman being his latest release, which I thought was really good this year. And I feel like it went under the radar for the most part, but I think after a home release, it's been doing a lot better. So I'm excited for it in that manner. But I very much so want to see what this witch, well, not this witch, but what this Nosferatu movie will be like, because I think that it can have something very special. I think it's about to be the 100th year of Nosferatu, or if not, this is the 100th year of it. So to get a movie from it already makes sense, and we'll see what happens and if Robert Eggers can deliver on this for sure. I do believe he has a great eye, and I would be excited to see what his vision of Nosferatu would be. So I'm definitely eager and anticipating this one for sure. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on Nosferatu with Nicholas Hoult as well as Lily Rose Depp and also Bill Skarsgård in the comments below, wherever you're listening. But like I said, I'm excited for this one. So let's talk about another Scream King in here, as we are already talking about Bill Skarsgård. And they actually were in a movie together just recently, which was Barbarian, which honestly, one of my favorite of the year. And I'm currently going to be making more videos talking about it, so stay tuned for that. But Justin Long, as I said, he's been on a streak lately. He's here and he's claiming his title as the Scream King, as he should, as we now know that he will actually be in the genre of the horror for a little longer with the Goosebumps series that is coming to us, a live action Goosebumps series to be more exact. So the series will follow a group of 5 high schoolers who unleash supernatural forces upon their town and must all work together thanks to and in spite of their friendship, rivalries, and past with each other in order to save it, learning much about their own parents' teenage secrets in the process. So we will have Rob Letterman, who directed the 2015 Goosebumps movie, directing the first episode of the Disney Plus series. And we will also have Nick Stroller, who will be executive producer here. And this is going to be an interesting one for sure. So I'm excited to see what this new series will be about. It definitely sounds interesting, and I'm excited to see more of Justin Long in this as well. I think that the Goosebumps series has a lot of potential, so I hope that they really do manage to get all of this working in a way where it really feels like the classic Goosebumps. I was recently going back to watching the old Goosebumps about a couple of months ago, and I was kind of impressed with it in a way where it really was kind of creepy in a way. And I don't know if it's just because of the way things looked back then, and then you see it now today, and it sort of has this not, I don't want to say like weird, but it sort of feels like uncanny-ish at times. Especially I was watching that Mask episode. That one was definitely something else, right? So overall, I'm excited for this series. I can't wait to see what they have cooked up. I think Disney Plus, R.L. Stein, and also having Mr. Justin Long in here is going to be an interesting aspect to it. So I'm ready for it and cannot wait. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. So speaking of other things that we're going to be seeing, we will actually be seeing the Grinch coming to us in a spoof this December called The Mean One. So this is from director Stephen Lamort. Sort of butcher names at times because I cannot talk sometimes. I should definitely not record these at 1 a.m., right? So we have this movie from XYZ Films that is going to pretty much have a mean one, Mr. Grinch here. So this is a parody of sorts, spoof, that is going to have the Grinch coming here to wreak havoc. And what's interesting here is that we have David Howard Thornton, who actually plays Art the Clown in Terrifier, pretty much playing this evil Grinch here as well, which is interesting to me for sure. So we pretty much are going to see this come out, I think, in theaters, and I'm interested to see. Well, actually, it says it's going to be released in streaming, I think. I'm not too sure. But it's interesting, right? I think David Howard Thornton is really cementing himself as a horror icon, and I'm excited to see what this one's gonna be about. We'll talk more about it as we get more about it. But speaking of Terrifier, Terrifier 2 actually has gone on to make a pretty decent amount at the box office just recently. So if you didn't know, Terrifier 2 actually went to theaters, and it's playing uncut and everything, just as the fans would wanted. But according to this new news right here, they're saying that Terrifier should make around 1.25 million over a 6-day debut, and will actually knock off Tom Cruise's Top Gun Maverick out of the top 10. So what a year for horror, right? Because we have this little horror film that I think was less than 250,000 to make, already making double, triple, quadruple its like budget, and it's already on its way to becoming a classic. So we're definitely going to be hearing more about these horror films in the future, because I think other studios' antennas are perking up, and they're just like, wait a minute, look at what's going on with the horror genre this year, because horror has come and it saved cinema. I always will say it, comic book movies and horror saved cinema back in the pandemic era. So we definitely have to give it up to horror for sure this year, especially really showing how much they have for us. So this week we also got the Mario trailer, and I was gonna make a whole video talking about it, but y'all, this week it's just been like I was burned out. That's the best way I can put it. Like, I had burned out after the Smile video, and I had gone to Fantastic Fest the week prior, and then I came back, and then I had to get all of that coverage done, and I'm still really much so getting that coverage done still. And then that following weekend, we had to go out to LA, and we went to Halloween Horror Nights, which I'm still getting that coverage done and out for you. And in that process, I sort of like just was like all over the place. I had to get things done, and then I had the other videos I always want to get done. We have TV shows we like to watch to talk about as well. And I feel like I went into some like overworkness like scenario, and I was just like, I don't want to do nothing at all. So that is my fault. I should always know to take breaks and to very much so clear my head. But let's talk about this Mario Bros movie. Sorry, I went off there. Sometimes you vent. But this 2-minute trailer, everybody was so focused on, what does Chris Pratt sound like? What does Chris Pratt sound like? For just us to get Chris Pratt just sounding like Chris Pratt. But we did get some amazing stuff like the villain Bowser, as well as some of the look of this trailer looking amazing. But the main thing I think we all loved here in this trailer was my boy Luigi. I think Luigi looks incredible here. I'm excited to see more of him, and I really dug the darkness of his shots. We see Luigi running from dry bones, and a lot of people are just saying, this is giving me this sort of Luigi's Mansion vibe. And I really want that Luigi's Mansion movie done now because of this. And I agree with y'all. This is definitely looking good in my opinion, as not just a Super Mario movie, but just Nintendo going forward. If they were to give us a Luigi's Mansion movie or a short or anything like that, I would be more than ecstatic, because I think that would just be perfect. Especially considering the artwork that this has. I just want a game that looks like this now, because it looked incredible, and I'm excited to see what they want to give us, especially with this movie, and where do we go moving forward from all of this. But very excited for the Super Mario Bros. Movie. So let's talk about also the new Jason Blum announcement that was Five Nights at Freddy's movie director and production date. So as we know, Five Nights at Freddy, it's been a thing that everybody on Twitter has been wondering, when are we going to hear news about it? When is this movie going to come out or be made at least? And we pretty much got some little leads here and there about what could be happening with it and all of that. And Jason Blum at a point felt too much that everybody was just coming at him, wanting news about it and all of that, and he's gone off on Twitter about it, and we've seen it. We recently did learn, however, that Emma Tammy will actually be doing the film. She is the director of The Wind, and that they will start production early next year, February 2023. So I could definitely expect this movie, because I don't think that they're going to really lengthen this production. I could definitely see this being done and released by next Halloween. We do have Jim Henson's Creature shop who will be working on the animatronics, which is great because Jim Henson, of course, being behind, I think, one of the most like famous puppets and all of that animatronics. So this should definitely be in good hands for sure, and I'm excited for what it's going to be coming. And it's cool that Scott is also here helping develop this as well. So it's exciting news, and I hope that we do get something special from it. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on that below. Now, we do have the new VHS movie coming out this month. So the new VHS, which is VHS 99, just got a new trailer for it. I just had the chance to watch it not too long ago, and I was very excited for it. I did enjoy 94. I enjoyed the first two VHS, and I think that it's a sort of exciting anthology series that really focuses on what we want, like, to see from horror and all of that. And now we have the news that VHS 85 is a go. So this was announced during New York Comic Con, and they had these announcements to make. We do have David Bruckner returning, who was in the first VHS with his film Amateur Night, which is still one of the scariest segments in my opinion. And David Bruckner recently did Hellraiser as well as The Night House, so it's exciting to see him coming back to the VHS like family. I mean, he's family, but it's good to see him coming back to everything here. We do have Scott Derrickson, who of course just had a massive hit with Black Phone, but he's also done some of my favorite films, including The Exorcism of Emily Rose and Sinister. We do have Gigi Salguero, who just had her film Bingo Hell last year, as well as some very good stuff that she did in Satanic Hispanics, which is going to be coming out hopefully soon. I don't know when to give you a date, but she is part of the VHS family now. We do have Natasha Kermani, who has a movie called Lucky, which I've heard some good stuff about. I haven't watched it myself. And then we have Mike P. Nelson, who recently had the Wrong Turn remake, which some people said was pretty good in my opinion. Something I want to check out. We do have the producers in here, of course, Brad Mitzka, who is part of Bloody Disgusting, Bruckner. We also have Radio Silence, as well as James Harris, Michael Shriver, and Adam Borstein. So this is exciting, honestly. I'm excited to see what they want to deliver with this one. I think that the way that they're approaching this now is interesting as well, with all of these bigger name directors as well, because usually people say that the VHS are usually more smaller name directors, but I'm curious to see where they go after 85 for sure, because this was interesting, came out of nowhere like people said, and I'm excited for it. So anyways, that's all the horror news for today. I will be talking more about the podcast, its feature, tomorrow as well, during the giveaway video, where we're also going to be discussing some new stuff coming to the channel, which I think would just make the channel a lot better. We're currently at like 25,300 subscribers, and I do want to make the channel different. I do want to add more to it, and I don't want it to be a channel that just is sort of like gonna peak. I want it to keep evolving as we go. I want this to keep growing as much more as it can. I'm trying to really push it by the end of the year to be this channel that is your go-to for everything. And I think this week, with a lot of the things that are coming out as well, and the things that we're going to be discussing, I think you're going to see where the future of this channel is going to be. And I think it's going to be good, honestly, in my opinion. We do have Chainsaw Man as well. I remember I did a whole thing where I asked y'all about what do y'all think about anime on the channel, all of that. And for the majority, people did like it. And I know it's going to be different and stuff, talking about different things that I don't normally do talk about. But then again, when I started this channel, all I was talking about was comic book stuff. Like, if you go all the way back to my older videos, which are pretty cringy in my opinion, you'll see that a lot of the things we talked about were just comic books. We didn't talk about anything else. Like, horror was here and there, but it really wasn't a thing we talked about. We never really even discussed TV shows back then. So it's like we started the channel as something completely different, and I do want to go back and look at those videos as well. I'll probably do like a reaction to it once we get to a certain milestone. But it's crazy because we've grown so much from that, and we've done different things as well, gotten different opportunities. We've this channel's gone through a lot because I was in a process as well where I was like writing for a site also, and so it changed the channel up as well. There was a reaction period as well where I was just doing reactions and that was it to things, and that was kind of a low point. But I do want to talk about that maybe in another video, really go in depth into all those things, all those periods the channel's gone through. And there's been a ton of times as well where I gave up on the channel. Honestly, I stopped uploading for like days, weeks, sometimes even months, and it was crazy. It was crazy. And just recently this happened too, like 2020, 2021, where was a year, I would say probably like a whole year almost, I would say I was just uploading to upload, but I didn't care about the channel anymore and I was just gonna let it go. And then something clicked in me that was just like, you know what, you've made this channel all the way this far, why would you give up on it? And I think at the start, not really the start of 2022, but I would say I think after Black Phone is when I started to really like, yeah, you got to get back on this grind. And we've been grinding hard all this year and it's showing. We've had a lot of success with a lot of the current state of horror. Nope, Black Phone, Smile, and just to name a few like that, really pushed us, and we're just like, yeah, horror is always where it's been for us. If we go back to our channel, look at all the stuff we've talked about and the videos that always do good, it's always when we did Hereditary, when we talked about A24's latest, anything that was just horror was always our bread and butter, and we for a long time really tried to neglect it because we tried to not just be a one-trick pony, but at the same time you can just embrace it. And you know what, I don't want to go too deep into it really. This video has already gone on too long, and I will definitely do more of these chats. If y'all want a whole chat about this, let me know, because we could really talk about it, get in depth into the content creation part of it, especially if you want to do it as well, because there's a lot to it and all of that. And I mean, I'm not even getting started on TikTok because TikTok's something else, but this is definitely a good way to vent about things for sure. But anyways, that's going to do it for me. Like I said, we will do the giveaway video tomorrow, so stay tuned for that to know how to enter that. And we will also be talking more about what's coming to the channel this month, as well as for the rest of the year and years to come, how it's going to change, and it's going to be all for the better. This week is a big week because we are going to be doing some new stuff, and it's always exciting when we do something new we've never done in a while, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I'm excited for it. So anyways, as always, if you haven't already subscribed, we're on the road to 50,000 subscribers. Hit that notification bell if you haven't already, and as always, I'll see all of you next time. Check out our reviews we did all weekend as well. We've tried to cover most of the stuff we've covered on Fantastic Fest as well, and we're pretty much doing catch up right now. We do have our Universal Horror Nights videos as well that are going to be dropping, so stay tuned for all of those. Super exciting. But anyways, as always, I'll see all of you next time. Follow us on Buzzsprout if you're listening. If you're on Spotify, find us on YouTube, Cultural Elixir, and we'll see all of you next time. As always, stay safe, stay positive, my friends.